What if I told you that an ancient text, banned from the Bible, contains a shocking explanation for mermaid legends, and that this explanation involves fallen angels, genetic corruption, and a catastrophe so terrible it nearly destroyed the world? Picture this. It's 1947. Bedouin shepherds discover the Dead Sea Scrolls. Among them are fragments of a book so controversial that early church fathers deliberately excluded it from the Bible. This is the Book of Enoch, and what it reveals about the origin of mermaids will chill you to the bone. The Book of Enoch, written centuries before Christ, tells of a cosmic rebellion that corrupted all of creation. It speaks of divine beings who abandoned heaven for earthly pleasures, and of genetic experiments that produced monsters beyond imagination. But buried within its pages is an explanation for why every culture on Earth tells stories of half-human, half-fish creatures. According to Enoch, before Noah's flood, 200 angels called the Watchers gazed down upon the earth. These weren't fallen angels, not yet. They were the Grigori, assigned by God to observe humanity. But something went terribly wrong. Led by their chief Samyaza, these Watchers made a pact on Mount Hermon. They swore an oath to abandon their heavenly posts and take human wives. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after the daughters of men, and said to one another, "Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men." These unions produced the Nephilim, giants of impossible size, 3,000 ells in height. Their appetite was insatiable. When human food ran out, they turned on humanity itself, devouring human flesh and drinking blood. But the horror didn't stop there. Chapter 7 of Enoch contains a phrase that should make your blood run cold. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish. The phrase sin against in ancient Hebrew implies sexual transgression. The Watchers weren't just corrupting human genetics, they were experimenting with all of creation. The Book of Jasher elaborates, "The sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other. Genetic manipulation, hybrid creatures. And among these corruptions were beings designed for aquatic life, creatures that merged human intelligence with the ability to survive beneath the waves. Consider this. Why do cultures worldwide, with no contact with each other, all describe similar aquatic humanoids? The Sumerians spoke of the Apkallu, fishmen who taught civilization. The Greeks had Sirens and Tritons. The Japanese tell of Ningyo. African cultures worship and fear the Mamiwata. Even Columbus recorded seeing mermaids in 1493. What are the odds that every seafaring culture would imagine the same impossible creature, unless they weren't imagining at all? Enoch reveals the true reason for the flood, genetic corruption so complete that creation itself was unraveling. God's judgment rose to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. But here's the terrifying detail. Water doesn't destroy water-dwelling creatures. If the Watchers had created human-fish hybrids designed for aquatic survival, the flood wouldn't have been their end. It would have been their liberation. While land-dwelling abominations perished, these aquatic hybrids would have thrived in the very waters meant to cleanse the earth. Ancient historians support this. Berossus wrote of half-man, half-fish creatures emerging after the deluge. Alexander the Great's admirals reported mere people in the Indian Ocean. Medieval maps didn't mark sea monsters for decoration. They were warnings based on sailors' reports. We've explored less than 20% of our oceans. In 1997, NOAA hydrophones detected the bloop, an ultra-low frequency sound suggesting a massive biological origin. In 2014, deep-sea cameras captured a humanoid figure at impossible depths. Commercial fishermen report nets torn by what appear to be hands, not fins. The U.S. Navy's submarine detection systems have recorded fast movers, objects traveling at over 200 knots underwater, executing turns that would kill any human pilot. These aren't whales. They move with apparent intelligence. but Enoch's warning goes deeper. The Watchers brought forbidden knowledge, genetic manipulation, weapons of war, and technologies humanity wasn't meant to possess. Today, as we splice genes and create chimeras in laboratories, as scientists merge human brain cells with other species, are we repeating the Watchers' sin? In 2018, the first genetically modified human babies were created. In 2021, scientists grew human-monkey hybrid embryos. The boundary between species, the very boundary the Watchers violated, is being systematically dismantled. The Book of Enoch doesn't definitively state that mermaids exist, but it provides a framework explaining why every culture shares these myths. If the Watchers' corruption created aquatic hybrids that survived the flood, then somewhere in our unexplored oceans, evidence of heaven's rebellion might still swim. The ancient texts speak of a time when the sea shall give up its dead, and hidden things shall be revealed. As deep-sea exploration advances, as climate change alters ocean dynamics, what might emerge from the abyss? Whether you believe Enoch's account or not, one thing remains certain. The ocean guards its secrets well. In its lightless depths, in pressures that mock human frailty, mysteries wait. Every ancient mariner's warning might have been justified. Every map marking "Here be monsters" might have been telling the truth. The next time you stand at the ocean's edge, remember, we know more about Mars than what lies beneath those waves. And according to one of the world's oldest texts, that ignorance might be a mercy. What do you think? Could mermaid legends trace back to the corruption described in Enoch? Why did early church fathers work so hard to suppress this book? What were they afraid would happen if people knew what it contained? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more investigations into history's forbidden mysteries. Because sometimes, the stories we're not supposed to know are the ones that matter most.